Okay, this is today's mad idea. I gathered up this poinciana seed pod some months ago, and I decided to try and get the shapes of its little patterning here in silver. So I melted down 49 835, so they're not sterling silver, they're 835 parts of silver. Chains that were too short and only good for children to wear, and I don't have any children or grandchildren, and so I decided to melt them down. I've kept the little locks which could be melted down at a later time, but I'd have to cut open the springs and get the steel springs out. But I just thought I'd have a little bit of a play, and yesterday I had last night I had 2 fails with my Yoda, 2 casting fails, and I realised I've run through all my sterling silver scraps, and I even melted down a beautiful bracelet I had made out of a serving spoon, and I realised I've been really freaking obsessional about casting, and it's cost me a lot of money in the long run because the damage I did to the hoses is another $440 worth I have to spend, and that was not actually my fault, it was an accident, but still it was an expensive accident. And then with all the bracelets and things that I've melted down so I could have one Yoda and one ring, it's been an expensive exercise, but I was feeling a little bit depressed about how much money I've wasted on this new training endeavour of mine, but it's my money I'm wasting, and it's not harming anyone except for old poinciana pods that are a bit burnt through now. So I just have to look on the bright side of life. I'm just going to take that off now, just see what we've got here. Oh. When I said ow, it didn't hurt me, I just ow in anticipation of maybe being burnt by the drop timber, but it's all good, no harm, no foul. So I didn't quite get much of a pattern out of that, but there's like one and then a smaller one, so I figure I could cut them apart and turn them into something. I was hoping to get some the same length so I could have a pair of poinciana pod earrings. This one sort of turned out, looks a bit like a poinciana goddess, so we'll go with that. That was quite nice, could drill a hole in that. And these were just scrap chains that were just far too short to fit any adult woman, or especially me because I've got a rather thick neck. I am thick-necked and stubborn. So yeah, so I just wanted to see what I could get out of this. If I wanted to bring it up to better sterling standard, I can melt them down again and add fine silver, fair quantity of fine silver, which I might actually end up doing, because this one ended up looking like almost like a little fish. Will that piece stay on, I wonder? So yeah, I've got interesting little shapes delivered by the gods and the molten silver and the poinciana tree. So we can express gratitude to the fairy realms who seem to be driving me like a wildebeest and making me explore all potentialities. I need money for more silver so I can melt more. It's become a bit of an obsession, and it's, as I said, it's getting to be an expensive obsession because that was the last of my scrap jewellery that's been lying around for years. So yes, it's all happening in a far out way. I think I shall focus in the next coming months on saving up the money for the new little Smith torch with hoses, so I can do this a little bit more intensely with copper, which needs the oxygen LPG to melt. And yeah, we'll melt the silver a little bit more quickly than the matte gas, although it's variable, doesn't always make much difference. And yeah, so that was my poinciana pod silver casting. Just something to try. This piece is still intact. I could maybe keep that for another burn off. And yes, contentment and happiness at Titania's Realm. And you can see I drew on the little thing, use sparingly, because I got convinced after my silver wouldn't melt yesterday that it was the chain that was stopping it from melting, and I've just proved that that's not the case, because the chain melted quite fine on its own without too much difficulty. So I have these ideas in my head that are negative, and I've put use with 999 silver. That's if I want to turn it into sterling silver, which I may do at a future time, but there's only these little bits. Who would have thought that 49 chains only make this few little clumps of 835 silver? 49 chains, wow. So it gives you an idea of how much silver I'm burning through just to get one item. And silver's not very valuable, but when you're casting it gets a bit precious because you're using a lot to get a smallish amount. So there is that. It's an expensive hobby, and I'm on some kind of fairy, angelic, gods driven journey, and they demand that I produce some kind of results. So this is what we've produced today. Molten 835 silver, but like I said, I haven't used those chains. They're from my small inheritance left over from my mother's market stock, and they're not selling. They didn't sell then, and they haven't sold now. So I thought, bugger it, I'll transmute the energy into something I like and can potentially wear, or someone else might like and want to wear and enjoy, rather than things cluttering up my house, just not being used. Okay, this is all part of my decluttering process, people, transmuting energy into something positive. And you have to laugh. It is a little bit insane, quite frankly, but everything's a little bit insane after a while. I'll throw those bits of scrap poinciana in my bonfire that I'm waiting to have when it's not so hot and we've had enough rain, which would be today, would be a perfect day, but I'll maybe save it till tonight. And I might keep that little piece because, yes, there's a few potential ingots I could make out of that. And I am very tempted to go in and melt the rest of that silver I have clumped up that wouldn't melt last night. I don't know why it wouldn't melt, because the chains melted fine today. So it's a bit odd. Oh well, maybe I'll keep that clump for another time when I can add fresh silver to it. I think it's just got overburnt. It doesn't like being overburnt. Nothing does it? So, and I'm due for let's see in the sunlight, due for a new crucible soon. This one's taken quite a hammering. So baby steps, 3 steps forward, 4 steps back, as is normal for Tanya Aarons of Titania's Realm. But I am trying new things and learning, so there is that. Okay, greetings from sacred space. Have a beautiful day in the space-time continuum, wherever you are on planet Earth or in the other dimensions. Take good care. Much love from the multiverses. Signing out now. Bye-bye.